Have you thought about what's going to work for you?
I thought about a letter of mistake, but I don't know where to go from there because, like Karl said, learning it step by step, it just doesn't work. You got to know the whole thing. You got to know the game. I don't know how to play the game yet. I'm still learning. But
no, I mean maybe like just basically practicing orders. In that scenario, if the same thing happened again, or if you say had foreknowledge that the same event was about to happen, knowing that you've already ran through it once, so maybe practice it through your mind and maybe what you should have said and how you should have said it. Are you going to do that, or I don't know? Is that useful for you? Or?
Yeah, it would be useful for everybody. I believe that's a great idea. To actually write down a dialogue. I keep replaying it in my mind again and again and again, like some sort of autistic guy, until I get it perfect, or what I believe is perfect. And then all it is when it does happen again, it's not going to quite be the exact same. There'll be a couple of things different. But hey, that's good enough. But yeah, I mean, if a guy kept making a mistake in, I don't know, 10 different subjects, if you looked at it outwardly, you'd say, man, this guy's rubbish at everything. But then where the man becomes, really starts to outshine is the fact that he has the ability to think it through, work it through next time. So how would he prevent it? So if he went back to the first subject again, then he's a bit more prepared. I mean, being prepared would be the good thing. I didn't even expect that there would have been a warrant. The warrant was placed on the day that I went to court, I guess, and I went down to the courthouse a couple days later, like after on a Monday or Tuesday the following week, and I went right to the courthouse to look at the case file, and there was no warrant in the case file.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about. Yeah, we were talking about that, Bali. Me and Mark, when Mark called me up, we said, hey, you know what? You better go to the Georgia Department of Motor Vehicles website and see if your license was suspended. You better find out.
It hasn't been. It hasn't been. It still hasn't been. But
right. But
when I went and looked in the case file, yeah, there was no warrant in the case file. There was no disposition. There was nothing about me, failure to appear on like the 18th of August. But there was a warrant that was signed on the 14th, but it wasn't in the case file. They didn't let me see it, I guess.
Did you go down and did you get a new copy of the case file, and is the warrant in there now?
Yeah, I got a copy of that. Yeah,
you got a copy of you got a copy of the case file now, right?
Yes.
And the warrant is in there now, right?
Yes, it is.
When was it time-stamped?
On August 20th.
And did you go down there before or after August 20th?
I believe it was before.
Okay. So when was your day you're supposed to appear in court?
On the 14th.
Okay. So then it was issued on the 20th.
Yeah, and it says given under my hand and seal. It looks like this 15th day of August, or it could be the 14th. I can't. No, it's not a 4 because it's just 2014. It's a different number. So it looks like a 9, or it could be on the 19th he wrote it. I don't know.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, okay, so like you said, it's the 14th of August. It could also be a 4.
It could, but it doesn't look like it because the 4 is written differently in 2014. So
what I'm trying to say is, if there was a warrant out for you, immediately when the judge placed the warrant, like I said, all you got to do is get a transcript of the hearings that day, and say if the judge automatically yelled out, place a warrant for his arrest. And then if you find out the judge created that warrant on the 14th, why didn't it go into the case file until the 20th?
Yeah, right.
It should have been placed into the case file immediately. Why was there a 6-day delay? Because I don't know how you understand how courts work. Anytime a judge issues an order from the bench, those court clerks have to sit there till 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, until the judge brings all his orders before the court clerk, and she has to stamp them and put them into the case file before she could go home. There can't be something sitting on somebody's desk for 6 days. That's insane. Can't be done. I guess you didn't know that little rule of court.
No.
No. You could ask the court clerk, does she have to sit there if there's a trial going on until 1 o'clock in the morning? Does she have to sit there? And she'll say, oh, yeah. And say, why do you have to sit there? We have to sit there until the judge is done with all the orders today, any motions that he made a ruling on, anything that happened in the courtroom that day. We have to timestamp it, and we have to place it in the proper case file. I guess you didn't know that little thing. See, that's what I'm saying, man. That's why I got to do a DVD. They should explain to these guys from beginning and everything that happens in a courtroom, everything that happens in a courthouse, every single thing that they have to do. Because that sounds ridiculous to me. You said, oh, the timestamp says the 20th. That's insane. The judge just sat on it for 6 days. That's so absurd. It's so obscene. It's not even funny. Well, the court clerk didn't move on it. Well, somebody just decided to like post date it. You know, they were trying to. They said, hey, this is the way we will get this clown. And let's write on the thing number 14 on this day, and let's timestamp it on the 20th. That's ridiculous. All business of the court has got to be settled before the court clerk goes home. It's like a Jewish custom. The books have got to be closed. You can't leave a book open. Everybody's got to sit there and wait.
Well, even if it says the 19th, okay, I appeared on the 14th. Even if the judge signed it on the 19th,
no, you can't. He's got to do it on the
20th.
If he issued a warrant, what I'm trying to say, if there's an order being uttered by the court, if the court creates an order, if the court says, you know what, oh, okay, I order a warrant for his arrest. Okay, you place the order. Yeah, bring it to the court clerk and say, that's what business. You don't wait 6 days and say, well, maybe I forgot what I said. Maybe let's refresh my memory. No. You do it as it happens. As you're creating the orders, as the rulings have come down, as the motions are denied or the motions are granted, the court clerk timestamps them, puts them right into the case file. There's no delay. Unless that judge held court until the 20th, he didn't take a break and he didn't go home, and those poor clerks had to sit there for 6 days. That's insane. Because I guarantee they all went home.
Yeah, they definitely go home every day at 5 o'clock.
Yeah. But then business of the court has got to be recorded that day. Not 6 days. Not a week. Not a month. Not a year later. That day. It's got to be recorded. Really simple. Why don't you go ask a court clerk? Any court clerk. I've done that before. I've called up court clerks. I called up court clerks in different states just to get different opinions from court clerks. Even if I had no business in that state. You know what? I just want to know, hey, how do you people do things here? When the judge creates an order, when there's a motion before the court, it's granted, and you people have to stay there and wait until the judge shows up. Until the judge shows up into the court clerk's office, he rolls a big cart full of paperwork, and you got to timestamp everything, put everything in the proper file before you lock up for the night. He says, oh, absolutely. I just think they had it out for you once I realized who you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, I don't have any proof that I was there except for the piece of paper that I written when I was on the 14th, and I put the wrong date.
It doesn't matter. It's timestamp. It's timestamp.
Yeah.
That's how you prove it.
Well, it's timestamped by the clerk that was outside the courtroom in the clerk's office, and I brought it back up and gave it to the prosecutor. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that when I saw the prosecutor on the day I went to court from the cage, I talked to him and I said, you know, you're the one that I handed the piece of paper, the notice of appearance, and he's like, yeah, I know, but you had to wait for the judge, and I didn't want to argue with him. So.
No, you do want to argue with him because arguing means to clarify your point.
I know, but I was in Orange, and it looked like I wasn't going home if I didn't do any other stuff.
Okay, so all you have to do is go down after you're out of your Orange and go back down there and say, look, I come to talk to you in that court because I was afraid I wasn't going to go home. Now I'm going to talk to you. And you know and I know what happened that day. You know I appeared. You know it doesn't say anywhere in the citation or the summons that I have to wait for a judge past 1:30. It doesn't say it. I don't know the rules of your court. So don't think that I know the rules of your court just because I got a traffic ticket. It's just like if you went to Saudi Arabia and you didn't realize that you were doing something wrong, that you looked at there's a gold car that comes down the street and you didn't realize that's a member of the royal family, and your eyes get plucked out. It's like all you got to say is, whoa, wait a second, I don't understand the rules of your court. There's a really long word for that. I'm trying to remember what it is off the top of my head. But it's just somebody from outside of a jurisdiction and that you don't understand their procedures. And nobody attached, the rules or the procedures to the citation, to this ticket. So how the hell was I supposed to know? It's that simple. But it's interjurisdictional something, man. It's a fancy word for it, man. It's like I said, it's how people get away with, looking at the gold-colored car coming down in some Saudi Arabian street, and you're like, wow, that's a cool car, and you start taking pictures of it. Everybody else in Saudi Arabia get their eyeballs plucked out or killed for doing that. You just say, hey, man, I'm an American. How the hell I know? And they're like, okay. But you can't take pictures of the royal family. Hell, you can't even look at that car. You see it coming, you better look the other way. You see a gold car, you better not, you better run. Because there's only one gold car in Saudi Arabia. You better run. Well, hell, I didn't know there's gold cars everywhere where I come from. Well, where you come from, that's one thing, but we do things different here. That's all I have to explain to them is that you're a freaking idiot. You have no comprehension. You do not understand their customs and their traditions.
Yeah, and I had that piece of paper in the case file. Sorry, I'm at work. I have to get out on this time.
Yeah, but like I said, man, it just comes from experience, man. Like somebody said a long time ago, some black guy said from the Moral Brotherhood that the Moral Brotherhood background checked me, and they said, you've been in court more times than the judge. So, yeah, so that's why I'm pretty good to know what the clerk does, what she doesn't do. Where do you think I got this learning from? You think I read it in a book? That this is what the court clerk does? She's got to turn the paperwork in at the end of every night. What do you think? I read that in a book? Hell no. I've seen them rolling the carts down the hallway because I was in court so much. And I said, where are you going with that cart? I'll go to the court clerk's office. Oh, wow. That's an awful lot of paperwork. Yeah, she can't leave until we're done. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Like if I got to court after 5 o'clock and I want to get some paperwork and the clerk said we're closed, and I see somebody rolling into her office with a cart. I said, whoa, she's closed. Hey, wait a second. How come he could go in there? I thought it's closed. Oh, I'm bringing the paperwork down for the judge because, business is done for the day, and she's got to record everything before she goes home. Oh, okay. So she's technically working but not working. She can't help me. No, she can't help you, but she could help the judge. You're like, okay, I see how this works. Some men are more equal than others. I see how this works. Okay. Well, like I said, it's just from experience. It happened to be standing there watching the clerk, watching some guy from the courtroom rolling a cart down the hallway and asking him a simple fucking question instead of it being, me just taking a look at what boy and just saying, okay, they're closed, I go home. No, I'm going to ask a question. Say, hey, how come the door's opening for you but not opening for me? Well, I got business with the clerk. Well, so do I. They see what I'm saying? That's how I learned. I didn't learn it by reading in that freaking book. I didn't learn it by listening to a talk show.
It was the same thing, remember, when you came over to England and they closed the Queen's Bench place. And they said, we're closed at 4:15. And we goes, hang on, I thought you said it was 4:30. And they said, oh, no, between 4:15 and 4:30, only barristers are allowed to go in there. And we said, what the hell? In Queen's Bench, you discriminate and allow a barrister that extra 15 minutes, but you won't see us.
Yeah, exactly. See, so you've got that knowledge from firsthand experience.
Yep.
You didn't read that in the book.
But you just remember it again, and like you say, there's no such thing as good and bad experience or good and bad luck. It's just an experience, or it's a experience, or it's a luck.
And you got that knowledge from acting like an asshole and forcing your way in.
Yeah.
Instead of taking like a good
you threw me in, remember?
Yeah. Well, okay, I threw you into that. That's the only way you're going to learn. If you just
sometimes,
walk away, you don't learn.
Sometimes you need that little push or something out of the ordinary to remind you. And say, oh yeah, that's when I got thrown by a car. Oh yeah, what was I doing again? Oh yeah, that's right. I remember.
But if everything just went nice, if everything went smooth as silk, you wouldn't have learned that.
And that's what I say is like for Mark as well. There's a lot of bad things that happen. Well, bad things, a lot of things that we experience. Everything didn't go swimming like it was. Oh, that's nice and easy, like a hot knife through butter. No. Always the funniest thing that ever happened, and the wrong thing would happen, and I forgot this, and just all the things ever going. But without that, we'd never learn. It was meant to be.
If everything just worked smooth, you wouldn't be learning anything.
Yeah. And then you always come to that scenario where you say, "Oh God, I've never done that before. What happens now?"
Yeah, you'd just be following a form. You'd just be following a pattern. Somebody else laid out. It's like, where did that form come from? Where did that pattern come from? Like, I don't care. All I got to do is connect out 1, 2, 3, and 4 together. I'm done. Well, where did 1, 2, and 3 come from? Well, I don't care. Look, I got the job done. I'm going to hell home. Well, what if I take number 2 away from you? What are you going to do about it? How are you going to make the other dots connect? Hey, that ain't fair. I wasn't ready for that. Somebody should have told me that you were going to take number 2 away from you. Well, I'm going to, okay, I'll give you number 2, okay? Now here, I'm going to toss you in a number 5. I'm going to toss you a 2B. Now what are you going to do with it? And a 3A. And a 1C. Now what are you going to do? Well, hey, man, that ain't right. I wasn't ready for this. Too bad.
Some breakdown.
Yeah, life comes at you hard.